What's up, guys? It's your girl Foxy here, and you're watching another episode of
Girl Talk.
So today I am joined by my gorgeous co-hosts. We have Miss Gracious, who is a blogger for Notes of Gracious.
Hi.
And to my right, I have Miss Rina Kalada, who's an amazing fashionista, and she's a co-contributor of Uzi Magazine.
Hi.
And so we have a new panelist, guys. We have Joelle,
Hey.
and she is a qualified nurse, and she just actually graduated. So kudos to you,
Thank you.
making money moves. So guys, today's episode is focusing in on what it's like adjusting to life here in New Zealand for us, and obviously for other people living abroad when you come from a different culture. So what is it like for you guys, lady?
For me, it was quite interesting. It was easy, but it was really hard at the same time. So when I got to New Zealand, I didn't really speak English well. I knew a few words like please, thank you, excuse me, but I couldn't really communicate well. And so that actually resulted in me being bullied in primary school.
Wow.
But I couldn't defend myself because I didn't have the words. And if I did have the words, I wasn't sure if they were the right words to be able to defend myself. So I think that's when I struggled most. But as I've grown up, that was almost 10 years ago now. As I've grown up, I feel like I fit in more.
Yes.
I feel like this is more home for me now. So when I was younger, it was harder. Now that I'm older,
So what accent did you have, or what were you speaking before?
I was Shona.
Okay.
Yeah, because coming from Zimbabwe, then moving to New Zealand, I could speak Shona well. I don't now.
It's gone, girl.
Switch roles.
Basically, yeah.
Very good.
So I'm originally from Congo, and of course in Congo we speak the part I'm from we speak Swahili and French. And then I left Congo when I was 5 years old and was living in Uganda. So I learned how to speak in English before coming to New Zealand.
Yeah.
But when I came here, I was 12 years old, and I could speak English, but I had a very strong African accent, right? So that was a bit hard. And coming here, that's the time I actually realized that I was different to people my age, like my friends and stuff. Because just being in class and your friends are like, oh, what is your hair like this? Or they'll be like, okay, so your hair, why is it light on this side? And
oh my goodness. So we constantly being reminded.
So that was hard for me. But then I think over time you get not used to it, but it's kind of they actually don't know, they're trying to learn about me as well. So now I don't really have any problem.
Yeah, because back home I can imagine you're surrounded by people that look like you.
Yeah.
So you don't even know that at 12
You don't
still.
notice it.
Exactly.
You don't. Yeah.
Wow.
And being different almost seems like it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
When really it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's crazy because coming from St. Vincent in the Caribbean, I never saw color. We've got people from every corner of the world. We've got Indians, blacks, we've got whites, everyone. So at home, I never saw myself as, different to anyone else. And coming here definitely was obvious. So I moved to South Island, a really tiny village. The bonus was everyone knew each other. It was a small place and people were nice. So I guess I didn't have any major issues in a way, but obviously people will be like, oh my God, your accent, and it's crazy because English is our official language. So it's
But you have an accent still.
there's an accent. So, so that was crazy. But I came when I was 15, so quite, aware of my culture. So I just had to make some adjustments, obviously, so that people can understand when it came to my accent.
I think for me, because I left home, so I'm originally from Lesotho, and I left, which is a country in South Africa. We're landlocked. We have a king and a queen. Hello. Represent Africa. So when I left, I was very young. I remember coming to New Zealand when I was 6. And I've always been very bubbly and very social. I was that kid that interacted with almost everyone. So there wasn't much of a change. And I don't recall I don't recall, any, like, I know people would come over and say, hey, your hair's different. But I love being different anyway from the beginning. Because I was like, yeah, that means I'm popping. And the only thing that I noticed that was different and that was a bit of an adjustment was that when we were at home, Mom would enforce that we speak Sesotho. And when we were outside, obviously out of home, things were normal. And my mom was not very, strict in her ways, in our cultural ways. But that was the only thing for me. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so now that we've sort of introduced the topic of, transitioning, one of the major things is like a role of a man and a role of a woman. In some places.
Sensitive.
Exactly. So like how do you feel? Is it something that's been like prominent to you?
For me, I probably kind of answered from a cultural perspective because I didn't really grow up with a lot of culture around me. For me, it was really more based on my faith. As a Christian,
a religious
religious thing. So I was born and raised in a Christian home, beautiful family. I never lacked anything. So culturally, I wouldn't be able to speak. My mom worked, and there were days when my dad would run his business from home. Mom would go to work, and either she'd pay the bills or whatever they did. But really, there was nothing that made me think that dad was kind of like the it of the house. They were kind of partners. It wasn't an ownership type of thing. It was a partnership for them. So that's my culture.
Yeah, for me, from a Congolese culture, a lot of females are expected to stay at home, study, go to church, come back home, and just be a housewife. You kind of like not expected to go out and have fun, and like, it's like, if you go out, it's like, why are you out? You're supposed to be at home.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Girl. Well, for me, when I was growing up, like, in around the age of 16, 17, I was like, like my friends are going out. Like I want to go out. I want to have fun, right?
Yeah.
But like that was a really problem for me and my family because Congolese parents are very strict, and like I always felt like the rebel child because I had to I wasn't following the culture.
Yes.
But then like now, I don't know if it was an age thing, but like now I kind of had to like find myself and be like, oh, you know what? Like I don't have to follow my friends.
Yeah.
Like I can be myself. I can follow my culture. Yeah, exactly. Like I think you just tend to realize how much you lack from your culture when you reach a certain age.
Yeah.
So for you, would you embracing your culture? Would you follow your culture and be a stay-at-home mom?
I wouldn't say that. Maybe if I was in Africa, I would have. But then, the fact that I came to New Zealand, I just feel like over here, females we get given a lot of opportunities. So those opportunities open door to like certain things. Like, for me, I will still be a housewife, but I also have like my own goals to accomplish, like my own things to do.
You have a career.
Exactly.
Yeah, girl.
Money bag.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But then I will still like look after my children and be a housewife, but
you can do it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What did Beyonce say again?
Then get back to business.
I think for me, growing up in an environment where my grandfather was a very hardworking man, and although my grandmother was a stay-at-home mom, she had 11 children, so you have to, with that many kids, you have to be a stay-at-home mom. But my grandfather was obviously the breadwinner of the family. But my grandma, I recall seeing pictures of her selling hats. She used to weave hats and sew and just selling stuff, so she had her side hustle going. And my grandfather being he was an intellect, so he pretty much focused and valued education and really encouraged all his kids to finish university, get PhDs. Some went to private schooling. I know our generation, so my cousins and I, we went to private schools. We have PhDs. Education was the main focus. So he never instilled in us or in my mom's family that you have to be a stay-at-home mom. So for us, it's get your education, get your independence, get married. Obviously, there's leave and things, so you can stay home with your kids. And my mother was a hard-working woman. I think growing up with women that are around me that worked so hard and had such amazing careers, I don't think I would just settle to be a stay-at-home mom. It's nice though. It feels nice. You know, obviously staying at home with your kids, looking after your family, but you gotta have your career and your goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's crazy because in the Caribbean, there's definitely places where it's obvious that women still believe in that. You know, the man has to take care of the family. That's his role. You stay at home, you wash, you cook, you clean. But my parents, when I grew up, my mother has always worked and she's always worked hard. So I can never see myself following that and instilling that in my children. Obviously, they have a choice.
Yeah.
But obviously, I would prefer to, you know, let them see that the value of independence, having your own little thing, you know, like even if it's just a side hustle, like something,
Just
you know
something
what I
to
mean?
keep you occupied.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, definitely. I'm not about that life.
I'm not
Girls, so being from an African culture, how would you go on telling your partner or your boyfriend about Dory Lobola?
Dory or Lobola. Okay, so I'll let me clarify. Some people are like, what? What? Lobola?
What are you talking about?
So in African culture, and I'm saying this, you know, loosely because I'm not sure if it applies to all the African countries, but the ones that we come from, when a man wants to marry a girl, he has to give now it's money, but I think back in the day it used to be cows. Give money to the girl's family just out of respect to say thank you for raising this girl and giving us her as, you know, our son's wife.
Yeah.
And in some Indian cultures, it's the other way around, where the girl's family gives the guy. But yeah, what do you think?
I was gonna say, I think it would be easiest for me to stop.
Yeah.
We don't got none of that, but they should, because
You don't have it in your
no,
country.
we don't. I only learned about it when I came here, and at the beginning I was like, so you're paying for a woman, but then when I understood the roots of it,
Yes.
it really, you know, the reason I think that we should have continued it, I don't know what happened back in the days, is because you just have that respect, and it just, I don't know, it just puts more value to the relationship, you know what I mean, that this guy is actually, you know, serious. So yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think for me it's really complicated, first of all, because I don't understand it. I don't have any background knowledge of what it means, where it came from, who started it, and why they did what they did.
Did your parents do it?
No, my parents did it, yes.
They did.
They
Okay.
did it. I don't know if they know why they did it either.
Yeah.
No one has ever...
No one knows.
Sat down, discuss the
Like,
importance.
does anybody know?
Yeah.
So no one ever sit me down to explain why my partner or my boyfriend would have to do that when the time for us to get married comes. I just know it's something I have to do.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, would I do it? Probably not. But since it's really not up to me, it's something that we know it has to be done, but I have no knowledge
Yeah.
of what it is, who started it,
Yeah.
and
Crazy.
why.
Yeah. I think, you know, I think it would be difficult explaining it to someone. You know, if obviously I grew up in New Zealand, and if I were to marry someone that's outside of the African culture, it would be difficult and a bit awkward as well to explain. You know, dowry, like you have to pay money for me.
Yeah.
Like it's like, am I buying you?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the back, you know, behind the scenes, and I understand why our culture does it. You know, there's something that a friend of mine that I know explained it to me, saying that when her boyfriend, let's say they had a baby outside of marriage, he would have to pay for damages. And then if he were to marry her, he would have to pay again the dowry of it. So I think there's obviously a reason why they did it, guys.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm sure people weren't money hungry.
Yeah.
It is respect. Is it something I will carry on? Definitely. Because if they've done it for thousands of years, look,
it means something.
it means
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you would get to explaining it.
Yeah.
You know,
But
it's
I think like it's all about like communication, like
Yeah.
and like you need to really like allow them to understand your culture.
You need
Because
to
if they
understand
don't-
it first
Yeah.
yourself.
Oh,
That
that's
is
the
the
thing.
thing.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Because if you don't understand, you can't
can't
really be like,
explain
oh,
it,
this is how it
exactly.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, give me
Yeah.
money, but I don't know why.
Run it.
Right?
Because really, if it's not explained properly, it could feel like you're buying someone's
Yeah.
daughter.
Yes.
And the abuse could come from that in the marriage.
I have
You know what?
ownership
I
over
have
you.
ownership of you. I
That's
give your
it.
daddy
Yeah.
50,000.
Yeah.
But if you,
Do you
as
say
a woman,
50,000?
15.
Oh, I was going to say, dear Lord.
Break the bank.
But then if you as a woman, if you understand it, then you've been in a position to explain to your partner who's not African or whatever, and his family, because they need to know as well, because they need to be able to come to the ceremony to do those things on his behalf. So it's complicated, I believe.
It's very complicated.
So I guess, you know, with everything that we've touched on, how do you guys accommodate having two cultures, basically? Do you accommodate both cultures? Do you choose one over the other? Do you prefer one over the other?
I think I definitely, I see, like I know when I was a lot younger, I used to think, man, my mom is too strict, my family's too strict. What do they mean? I can't date, I can't go out, I can't eat at people's houses, I can't, you know, there's so many things that we weren't allowed to do. And then even if I tried, because I knew, you know, you just know that you can't ask your parents certain things, but even if I tried to ask, it was like, slip across your head, girl. you get a
don't talk back to me.
You don't talk back to me. But then the more I grew, and obviously having children of my own, I see the importance of keeping the culture and the basic things, you know. But the way I would incorporate it is having a little bit more communication with my children, explaining why we do things a certain way. Because we do, Africans or people from Lesotho, we do things quite differently. You know, the Bola being one of them, which is a little bit different. So I would explain to them, because my children would be like, what? Why do they have to pay? Like, it's my boyfriend. You know, and so communication is key. And that's how I would incorporate it. What do you guys think? What do you ladies think? What was the question?
What was the question?
So there's a lot of things, like the core morals that I've got from my culture. I will always continue to live those morals. I'll always pass them on. You know, there's some things that we do that it doesn't make any sense, you know, and if it doesn't make any sense to me, I'm not gonna enforce it onto my children for no reason, you know what I mean? So it's the morals that are the main things that I think it's important to continue in terms of what you said. As for my children, cultural identity is such an important thing. If I have kids here, of course, they're born in New Zealand, they're Kiwis, but I would want them to say, you know, I am of Caribbean heritage. You know, I was born here, I'm Kiwi, but this is my cultural identity, because it's important that you know yourself. You know, they're not going to look the same as their classmates, so they need to understand and be confident in who they are.
And where they come from.
I really agree with Rina. She said about self-identity, because that's very, very important.
Exactly.
If we don't know who we are, like, what am I going to tell my child or daughter, you know?
Exactly.
So like, I think we can always choose, like, personally I think like it's always good to pick should I say pick, like
as in like take out what you want,
like the values, like the cultural values, and then because like the reason why I'm saying this is because like being in Africa is really different to being here. So like
different.
There's certain things that you can do in Africa that if you do it here, it's like, you know. So you kind of have to balance and see what is like the thing that you can't really get rid of, and what can you like kind of like adjust to, like, in order to fit in with it, because you also need to kind of fit in within the New Zealand culture as well.
Absolutely.
If you don't, it's like you're the odd one out.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I went to live in England in 2015 for about a year and a half. And so when I was there, people would ask me where you're from, and I would say I'm from New Zealand. But when I'm here, if people ask me where I'm from, I say I'm from Zimbabwe. So there was already a bit of a confusion within that. So my opinion is probably a little bit controversial to what all of you just said. But I don't know if I like the box of culture. I don't know if I like the idea of placing myself and this is my culture, so I do this. But then that could contradict a lot of other things I believe in as well. So I'm not going to get into that. But I think that if you believe that your culture has certain morals and values and ethics that you value as a person, then you should go with that. But if you feel like it doesn't, then you should let it go. Do what works for you or for your family or whatever else.
You really have to pick and choose, because I know, like I was saying before, that my granddad wasn't, you know, heavy with our culture. When someone passes away in our culture, and if it's someone really close to you, like a parent, the children have to shave their heads off. The siblings of the parent have to shave their heads off and put sheep poo. Like it's a paste. I'm not sure. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Basuto out there, come to my rescue.
Comment down below.
But
Tell
yeah,
us.
you put it on your head, and obviously the wife or whoever wears black for a month or a year. Those are things that my granddad was like, you're not cutting my daughter's hair.
Yeah.
That's out the picture. Nobody does that, you
Yeah.
know? So I think, yes, you're right. There are things that you should pick up and things you should let go.
Yeah.
And you're not obliged, I think,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea of being able to choose.
Yeah.
That I
Absolutely.
love the idea of being able to choose. And I think that's one thing that my
That's good.
and I think that's one thing my parents did for me. I would often hear mom say, "You do this because we do it in our culture." And I'm thinking, "You do it in your culture."
Under your breath, because you're gonna get a.
Yeah, under your breath.
Under your breath.
That's the cultural thing.
Yes,
Here,
That is.
they would
But
tell them
that option for me was there.
Yeah.
And the thing that was like forced in me allowed me to choose it.
Yeah.
So Gracious,
Yeah.
would you say that like us being kind of like being raised in New Zealand, would you say we have a different like culture to our parents? So we have more choices to choose what we can keep and what we don't.
Yeah, I believe we
Absolutely.
do. I
Yeah.
think for them it was kind of really
Like
almost
they have to
forced.
do it.
They have a
Like, you
choice.
have to do
They
Yeah.
have a choice.
Yeah.
Although a point that I will put out there is that New Zealand is very different compared to other places in the
It
world.
is.
New Zealand also offers you the ability to hold on to your culture, practice,
Yeah.
because they're so
Absolutely.
respectful. New Zealand is so
Absolutely.
respectful of
Yeah.
cultural practices,
Yeah.
you know, and embracing.
religion.
Yeah, embracing
Yeah.
everyone's heritage and their background.
Yeah.
So I think maybe with some people it wouldn't apply. 'Cause I
Yeah.
don't- yeah.
Yeah,
Some
it
countries.
is different. Yeah. Some people have a really hard time transitioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. And
Anyway, I think that wraps up today's Girl Talk. Thank you for tuning in, and yeah, comment below. Let us know what it's like for you if you're an immigrant. How was it like adjusting to a new environment? And don't forget to like and comment. We love your feedback, and stay tuned for the next episode of Girl Talk. Bye.